I'm not high enough for this shit. I'm not high enough for what we got next, which is Ted Cruz going on with Michael Knowles to talk about the immigrant stunt pulled last week by the right wing, where they sent 50. I might have said at one point in time that it was 500. I got the number wrong. It was 50 immigrants that they sent to Martha's Vineyard. Oh, I'm sorry, Michael. I had you muted there. Oh, I'm muted over here. That's
Airplanes full of illegal aliens to Martha's Vineyard. And I cheered when I saw the headline. And then I had to think, there's a certain podcast hosted by a certain senator from Texas that has been calling exactly for that for many weeks.
Look at the glee.
And, I just can't
look at the glee on his face.
help but wonder if that may have had some effect on this policy going into effect.
I was thrilled when the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, took me up on the idea and began sending illegal immigrants first to D.C., then to New York, then to Chicago. It's had a fantastic event as these Democratic mayors have lost their minds and
fantastic event. They lost their minds.
Declared national emergencies. The mayor of D.C. declared a national emergency or a city emergency because 6,000 illegal immigrants were sent to D.C. Of course, we've had, since Joe Biden became president, we have had 4.2 million illegal immigrants cross illegally with Biden as president. It is horrific.
That's a crazy number. 4.2 million. That is a crazy number.
It is larger than many of the states of our union. I mean, 4.2 million since Joe Biden put his hand on the Bible and took the oath of office. That's what's coming. It continues to get worse. And what is amazing about when red state governors, first Texas, now Florida, are shipping to blue strongholds, is the Democrats who talk a good game immediately flip tail. And so I want to give you a quote from Martha's Vineyard. When I introduced the legislation, we had Democrats.
Wes, is that you messaging me on Discord? I thought it was some kind of fucking spam. I'll get up with you if that's you.
Commissioner of Martha's Vineyard, Keith Chattanooga. And here's the quote he said about my legislation. I would love to see Martha's Vineyard become a haven for new immigrants in the country. But Senator Cruz has no idea what he's talking about regarding a border crisis. He went on to say immigrants make our country stronger, as evidenced by immigration from Brazil and other countries to the Vineyard, and he is trying to whip up racial anxieties for political gain, which is essentially the entire GOP platform anyhow.
Yep.
Before they arrived, I want to see if after 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 100 plane loads or bus loads, if the county commissioner has the same view.
Let's see how the migrants were actually treated when they arrived at Martha's Vineyard. Would you guys like to see that? First of all, let's hear what they had to say when they got there. I got a few different clips to play for you. And remember that glee on Ted Cruz's face when we get to the immigration lawyer.
We didn't know we were coming here. We were not aware. I dream about building a better future for my family. I wanted to live in Washington, but it didn't work out the way I wanted, and God put me here for a reason. We're going to fly to Boston.
They were told they were going to Boston.
So we have some Venezuelan refugees who they arrived on Martha's Vineyard. No one knew they were coming. And so there has been a massive community effort to provide them with housing and care and any legal advice that we can give them.
So that different narrative than all the right-wingers had, I thought they said the liberals were repulsed when they got the migrants. Let me show you a meme. And just like that, sanctuary cities don't want to be sanctuary cities no more. But that's not how it happened. Here is a restaurant providing authentic Venezuelan food.
The food. So we have here black bean. We have black beans too. We have rice, plantains. It's our typical food. The food.
Typical Venezuelan food to make them feel at home. Here are other volunteers coming with carloads full of food. Now, the right wing has said that they were already deported to Cape Cod Air Force Base, but the only reason that they sent them to Cape Cod is because there's empty barracks there. There's housing for them. There is infrastructure to house people. That's why they sent them to Cape Cod. And here are the residents seeing them off and hugging them.
Please.
I mean, you don't get more welcoming. And by the way, this is the way Jesus would act. This is the way Jesus told people to treat foreigners in your country.
Gracias por todo.
Yeah, I love it. I know.
Venezuelans slammed DeSantis after migrants flown to Martha's Vineyard. Members of the Venezuelan community and local advocates on Thursday criticized Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who sent 2 charter planes with undocumented immigrants to Martha's Vineyard, a traditional summer destination for celebrities and public figures. By the way, like, the fucking celebrities and shit aren't there. That's their summer home. William Diaz, a community leader in Central Florida and founder of the Casa de Venezuela network in the U.S., said DeSantis doesn't care about immigrants and he's only paying attention to the midterm elections in November. Casa de Venezuela promotes democracy and freedom and helps Venezuelan refugees. Our governor definitely wants to get some kind of political advantage for the midterm elections. The legislature approved millions to assist immigrants who have suffered the consequences of COVID, but not to pay for planes carrying migrants from Texas to Massachusetts just to be nice to the governor of Texas and Arizona. DeSantis had been talking about busing undocumented immigrants to President Biden's home state of Delaware for nearly a year, and his administration had set aside $12 million for the effort. The Republican governor's office said the flights were part of the state's relocation program, even though the trip started in Texas, not Florida. Most of the 50 migrants who were flown to Martha's Vineyard came from Venezuela, according to the Herald, and attorneys speaking for them say they were lied to and promised jobs and housing. Yeah, let's hear for the immigration attorney in Martha's Vineyard who decided to help out these poor migrants who were indeed lied to. I told you, remember the glee that was on the faces of Michael Knowles and Senator Ted Cruz when talking about this political stunt.
Make it clear that they were lied to again and again and fraudulently induced to board.
I'm sorry?
Arrived last night, make it clear that they were lied to again and again and fraudulently induced to board.
Well, we are having an issue with the video at the moment.
Last night, make it clear that they were lied to again and again and fraudulently induced to board the planes. They were told there was a surprise present for them and that there would be jobs and housing awaiting for them when they arrived. This was obviously a sadistic lie. Not only did those responsible for this stunt know that there was no housing and no employment awaiting the migrants, they also very intentionally chose not to call ahead to any single office authority on Martha's Vineyard so that even the most basic human needs arrangements could be made. Ensuring that no help awaited the migrants at all was the entire point. They were provided with a cartoonishly simple map of Martha's Vineyard and the United States and a brief brochure containing snippets from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts website and instructions to change their address with USCIS when they relocated. This is especially troubling as anyone with even the most basic understanding of the immigration proceedings knows that USCIS was not the agency with whom the migrants would have to record their addresses and has nothing to do with their cases in any way. It is clear that this was an intentional attempt to ensure that these migrants were removed in absentia when they failed to change their address with the proper agency. This was a purposeful derailment designed to prevent people from complying with federal immigration policies. This is problematic because the state should not be interfering with federal immigration policy. Before they boarded the planes, the migrants were processed by agents of the Department of Homeland Security, who listed falsified addresses on the migrants' paperwork. Agents apparently chose random homeless shelters all across the country, from Washington to Florida, to list the migrants' mailing addresses, even when told by the migrants that they had no address in the U.S. According to the paperwork provided to them, the migrants are required to check in with ICE office nearest to the fake address chosen for them by DHS or be permanently removed from the United States, with some required to check in as early as this coming Monday. It could not be clearer that this is an attempt to ensure that these people are ordered removed, even as they try as hard as they can to comply with the instructions provided to them. There is no other reason to list as someone's mailing address a homeless shelter in Tacoma, Washington, when they ship him to Massachusetts. It is sickeningly cruel, throwing obstacles in the way of people fleeing violence and oppression, some of whom walked through 10 countries in the hopes of finding safety. It is shameful and inhuman. Many of these victims were deprived of medical care despite clear existing injuries. These are human beings who were deprived of basic human rights. To the people who find themselves, these wonderful people who find themselves plane wrecked on our island, I have a message for all of them. You are not alone. We have your backs. We are proud to be here for you. And we've got you. If the intention of those who perpetrated this horrendous act was to create a crisis, you have failed. Their demeanor is kind, their demeanor is grateful, and their demeanor is just that they want to be doing everything right. Their biggest concern today is that many of them have dates to appear in San Antonio Monday morning, Tacoma, Washington, Monday morning, Washington, D.C., Monday morning. You tell me how that's possible.
We will be exploring all civil and criminal legal options to hold the perpetrators accountable and to prevent this injustice from repeating itself.
Thank you to these two awesome women. And I posted this on every right-wing propaganda site I could after I saw this video. Because fuck you, Michael Knowles. Fuck you, Ted Cruz. Fuck you, Greg Abbott. Fuck you, Ron DeSantis. Fuck you, everyone cheering on this nonsense.